These are our life's aha moments from the perspective and experiences of two Christian women who are focused on creating a deeper relationship with Jesus Christ.
Join us as we share and discuss insights we have learned and provide tools to empower you on your journey of intentional creation. Welcome to another episode of Ahas, Awakenings, and Applications. I am Leann.
And I am Melissa.
Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. We are very excited and looking forward to having our special guest with us today. We have a good friend of mine, Beth, and we have invited her to come on today and just talk to us a little bit about health and hormones and the gospel and just whatever we can all contribute to this conversation today. So I would like to turn the time over to Beth and just ask you to maybe tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I already told Melissa and Leann I'm excited to be with them. I am a 51-year-old woman. I'm turning 52 this year. I have 6 children. My husband and I have 6 children. I've been married for 31 years. We are down to one child at home, Cry Me a River. And we've got 2 married children. I've got one grandson. And I would call myself a perpetual learner. So whenever there comes something in my life with one of my kids, with a calling, with something in regards to life, I just decide I'm going to start researching as much as I can to get some answers to help me. And so when you talk to me about health, that's literally, I just decided to take things into my own hands and figure some stuff out.
So we are glad that you have joined us today, and thank you for sharing that. There were some things that I didn't know. Beth, tell us a little bit about is there anything about your health journey that you would like to share with us as you've learned over the years, some things that have been kind of helpful for you, or maybe some things that you didn't understand that have helped you as you've come to research and learn about, maybe women's health.
Yeah, I might be a little bit winded because I have to give a back history here just to have a good understanding. So, growing up, I grew up with 4 brothers and 1 sister, and we were always outside. We were always very active. In my teenage years, I was a soccer player, basketball, I ran track, I was outside playing baseball. Anything we could do, we did it. We had a swimming pool, an underground swimming pool. So, I was a very, very active person. And when I got married, um, we were young. We and we wanted a large family. So I was either pregnant or breastfeeding for almost my whole my 20s, my 30s. I had our last child when I was 36. And really, I love to go take them to the park. I love to go take them on walks. I love to be active with them. We put them in sports, but I really didn't focus on um, doing anything physical at that time in my life, and I really missed it. But I really felt like that part of my life was focused on mothering them and strengthening them and teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
So after our son Gannon, he was born in 2010, I told my husband I would like to join the gym because I need to start moving. It's kind of, I call it therapy for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go on a walk outside, I call it my green therapy because it helps me to feel connected. I can process things through my walks. So I walk all the time. So I started going back to the gym, but I noticed, and I was 37 at the time, almost 38. I noticed when I hit my early 40s, something just wasn't clicking. Like I felt like I had to put in more of a workout. I felt like I needed to get a hold on things. So I did some research and I headed over to a ketogenic diet for 6 years. I was trying to clear my system, heal my body, but there were all these other things that were going on that I thought was because I wasn't putting enough in, I wasn't working hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Just I was putting a lot of blame on myself. I noticed I just felt completely disconnected. And I thought it was because I wasn't putting in enough effort or figuring myself out.
Mm.
And what I found in this whole process was I was in perimenopause, and there were so many things connected to that that I had no idea. And so I went to my doctor. I went to my first doctor about 6 years ago. So I'm 51. I'll be 52 this year. So when I was 46, 45, and I told her something's wrong with me. I gave her a list of my symptoms, and I had probably 10, 12 things on the list. And she said, "Yeah, you're in perimenopause, but we really can't take blood work because we can't give you a guarantee like where you're at because you haven't gone through menopause." I didn't like that answer. It didn't help me. And I was doing a lot of personal, like beating myself up. Like, come on, Beth, get it
Mhm.
together. You were doing great. What's wrong with you? Stop being tired. Where's your energy? Stop the brain fog. Control your eating. Like, you name it. Anyway, I went to another doctor. He told me the same thing. Yeah, you're in perimenopause. I'm like, can you help me? No, you can figure this out. It can last short or long. I went to my OBGYN. I told her the same things. She gave me one little remedy that helped with odor, and that was it. So finally, I was like, this is it. I'm taking things into my own hands. I'm going to figure this out. And I tend to like to go natural.
Mhm.
So I went to a naturopathic doctor. She's like, Beth, we're going to run blood panels. We're going to figure out where you're at, where your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone. We're going to
Mhm.
figure this all out. We're going to help you. So that's what really started my journey. And I'm still on it. And what I realized is so many women think there's something wrong with them. Now, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong. We're not perfect. We all have issues, okay? But some of the things, because I did a presentation to the women in our stake, and I was able to show them, and I just want to share with you a few symptoms that I put on this presentation. And I could say I went through at least half of them, if not more. But I want to share
Mhm.
with you them because women sat in that room at this women's conference crying because
Mhm.
they thought there was something deeply wrong with them. Some
Mhm.
of them filed for divorce. Some of
Oh.
them were estranged from their children. Some of
Mm.
them couldn't get out of their house because of their depression. Like, do
Mhm.
you understand like how much if and I want to share this too. Sorry, I got to jump around. Some women don't even know they go through it. Okay?
Right.
They don't even know they are going through a change. That's
Right.
totally great. Then there are some women that have like hot flashes, lack of sleep, they're tired, they're fatigued, they feel a little bit more irritable, but it's not really hurting their lives so much.
Mhm.
And then you have women like I felt like I was falling off a cliff.
Mm.
Like I was the first time in my life, I think I told Leann this, that I turned down a calling. Whoa. Like I felt like
Mhm.
I had been done an evil deed. But I was like, this doesn't work with my family's life at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All my children are coming out of school and going to things. What are you thinking? Like, it was the first
Yeah.
time I was questioning, like, you're not thinking about my situation. I'm trying to say mercy. I should have, if I would have known what I was going through, I would have had mercy and grace for myself.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I'm just going to share with you a few of these things: hot flashes, anxiety, fatigue, digestive problems, tingling, electric shocks, headaches, migraines, difficulty concentrating, mood swings, hair loss, irritability, brittle nails, allergies, joint pain, dry and itchy skin, odor, weight gain, breast pain, irregular heartbeats. That's just
Mhm.
a little bit of them.
But yeah.
Mhm.
And I just decided that through my research, I'd be talking to a friend and she would be like, my life's a mess. I can't function. I realized I'm merciful. Like you're not alone. Women aren't talking about this, and you might be in perimenopause, or you might become in menopause, which I didn't even know. Menopause is literally after 12 months with no cycle, and
Mhm.
you're literally one day, then you're postmenopausal,
Right.
which women don't know, right?
Right. I didn't know that. I thought,
I didn't know
I
that.
thought it was like a period of time. It was like, no, boom, you're done and you're in menopause now.
That's it. It's
Oh,
1 year.
interesting.
And so women, um, like here's I not to be too graphic, but I was shocked. I would be my flow would be so heavy. I'd be like thinking I was hemorrhaging.
Hmm.
And that is actually one of the signs
Yeah.
that your eggs, everything is changing in your body. Things are, they're dying down and your body is releasing and sloughing so much. And nobody
Right.
told me that.
I know. No one tells you that.
No.
You're,
And go ahead, Leanne.
I was going to say your story is so many women's story
Oh, yeah,
where women go
exactly.
from doctor to doctor and you're just giving a simple answer with no real answer.
Hmm.
Where I remember having a doctor tell me that I needed a psychiatrist because I asked to have my thyroid checked because I thought I had thyroid issues because I had done some research and really I just knew quite a bit about it. And I actually did have some issues, but it was the same thing. And I think, like you said, that guilt and that shame
Hmm.
that we tend to feel after seeing a doctor and being told, really just kind of being brushed aside and not really being heard,
Right.
which hits so many topics that we've talked about in the past, Melissa, with the
Mhm.
guilt, the shame, the not
Exactly.
being seen, not feeling heard, and really blaming yourself. And that kind of a downward spiral, I think it adds to that feeling of lost and depressed and all of
Hmm.
the things that can kind of branch off from that.
I mean, a lot of research has been done on men's health, not so much on women's health. And I love the fact that that's changing and that we're getting more information and we're learning more about women's health and that it's different. Men's bodies and women's bodies are completely different. And so I love the fact that we are learning more, that there's more research being done on women's health, and that there's more access to this information.
And that more women are
Where you know where to
talking
find
about
it.
it.
Yeah, and more
Yeah.
women are talking about
More
it.
women are, and it makes me think of what you said, Beth. I don't know who actually says this, but you said women are not little men. And I've used that with my husband a few times this last couple of weeks since you told me that. And I keep thinking about that because isn't that true? Like, aren't we
Yes,
often treated like we're just a smaller version of a man? And that's not true at all.
which we're not. Hmm.
Well, and that's Dr. Stacy Sims. She coined that women are not small men. So just to share with you, I think it all comes to a perfect storm. Because if you start having children in your 20s and you are starting perimenopausal symptoms in your 40s and you are going through menopause in your late 40s, early 50s, you are literally hitting a place where your children are leaving the home.
Hmm.
You are trying to kind of rebuild I mean, you're hoping that through the years you've maintained a strong relationship with your spouse, but just due to life, due to schedules and them working. So what happens is as the kids start leaving, you're like, "Hi, how are you? I've grown and changed. You've grown and changed.
Yeah, like who
And
are you?
who are you?" Right?
Right?
And you're going through this moment. I actually want to share a statistic with you that I shared with the women. Um, Let me just find it really quick. I wrote it down in my notes. Oh, shoot. Oh, here it is. This is one thing that, because I've had friends that they feel like they've fallen off the deep end. And so this is
Hmm.
the statistic that I wrote down and shared with some of the women. 60% of divorces are initiated by women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Mm,
70,
interesting.
73% blame menopause for the breakdown.
Mm.
And
Wow.
1/5 of women that are in the workforce end up leaving their career after years of being there because they feel like they can't maintain the pace that they did before and they begin to beat themselves up.
Wow.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things that if women could see, like I'll give you a story really quick. My husband kept saying to me, "Well, what do you want to do now?" Because I was down to one child, right? What do you want to do? Where do you want to work? Do you want to go back to school? Do you want to? And I'm just like reeling because I'm trying to figure out this whole, like I'm in the thick of it, right? And I had been coaching other women for 5 years as a side job that I did. And I ended that. I ended a podcast I was doing that I'd done 333 episodes. And
Wow.
I finally sat down with him and I said, stop asking me what I'm going to do because I am literally trying to figure myself out again. I'm trying to find my purpose. And
Mhm.
everything has come to a storm for me at the same time. I have two married children now. I have a grandchild. I am down to my youngest at home. All the years that I put into mothering are coming to a close, and I
Yes.
feel lost.
Hmm.
So please do not ask me one more time what I'm doing because I have poured my entire life into this and I feel lost. So I just wanted women to feel like where you're not alone. We have compassion for you. If you feel a little lost, it's okay. Let yourself feel it. That's how I feel. I feel like, would you rather a woman end a marriage and divide a family because she can't seem to figure out what her purpose is anymore? And she begins to go on routes that she never would have thought of before. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I find this so interesting because we had started talking about this. We were at the temple working, and I think I had walked into a room and said something about a hot flash. And then all of a sudden there were a few people like piping in, and it was just real interesting and fun to me to hear that, we want to help each other. And I think that realizing that how little I know about these things, I've learned a lot about emotions and I learned a lot. I've taken a course about finding your purpose and just done a lot of different things, but I've never really zeroed in and focused on hormones. And so it's really interesting. It's easy my life has been spent focusing on improving my health, pretty much all of my adult life and finding new answers. And it really is just a process, right? Like, I think that is one thing that I would love for women to understand is, you know, do what you can to learn what you can and start with what is working for you. What is your biggest issue right now? And where do you feel drawn to learn more, and counsel with the Lord, pray about it and ask him to bring these people into your life that can help
Mhm.
you with this direction. And that is exactly what has happened for me. Like, I didn't know anything about alternative medicine when I was
Yeah, me
in
neither.
my early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. And I think when I was maybe in my early middle 30s, a friend of mine had introduced me to that. And I marvel at the way the Lord has provided people for me
Mhm.
and to see what this new stage brings. And the older I get, like, it's just more and more exciting to me to learn about these things and how much my health has changed and has improved. And I do believe that knowledge is power in helping
Yeah,
us.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think the biggest thing out of what I'm getting today so far is, supporting each other through these phases
Mhm.
because when we're just trying to do it alone, we just feel abandoned. We feel like lost, like you said, Beth. I know when my kids all left home, I was like, well, now what? It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, you put all of your time and effort and everything into your children, and then like, well, now what? Yeah, it was really hard. And finding that purpose, I spent a lot of time on my knees, a lot of time in the scriptures, a lot of time in the temple, finding what is my purpose? What am I doing going forward? And I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for the answers that I've received to help me move forward. And it's not like I'm no longer a mother. It's just
No,
it's
it's just a
different.
different,
It's very
yeah,
different. But
totally.
yeah, it's being able to, like, for this podcast, sharing with others the things I've learned, being able to reach out to others and just letting people know they're not alone. That
Mhm.
this is what I did, or you know these are some options, or just giving them some hope that it's not them.
Well, and too, like Leanne, you brought up hormones in regards to what you're saying, Melissa. So progesterone is called the mothering hormone.
Mhm.
And what happens when you're going through perimenopause and menopause is you are declining in your
Yep, and
progesterone
progesterone.
and your estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So that mothering hormone, because I've had friends be like, they'll say to people, I really don't care what you think anymore, you know, or like things that would bother me, like things that I would be cautious and hold back my tongue. I'm not trying to say to people, go bananas and say whatever you want. I'm not saying that. I'm saying things that I would hold back and just not say something about that were affecting me. I stopped doing that. And then people are like, whoa, 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 what you doing? I'm like, I'm just sharing my feelings. And so a lot of times when those hormones are declining in our system, we start to feel this change of like, who are we? Like
Mm-hmm.
estrogen. Estrogen is a lubricant. So one issue I had that nobody told, I even went and had alternative work done. I had this shoulder that was just in pain. I couldn't figure what. I didn't know. I was like, maybe I have to go get surgery. Maybe I have not, I don't know. My rotator cuff. What did I do? What did I do? Well, one day I was reading a book and there's this thing called frozen shoulder.
Older. Mm-hmm.
Wow. It was like, that's it. That's what it is. And it's a lack of lubrication. Like your estrogen levels are dropping, your progesterone, your testosterone. Um, Things that I couldn't explain about my body, joint pain, back pain. Um, it's your hormones are so changing so rapidly that things that didn't bother you before now are bothering you. And
Mm-hmm.
you think, I can figure this out. Well, no, you can't pour back into yourself unless you do HRT, which I do, hormone replacement therapy. You cannot bring those back into your system or try to settle things down. So a lot of women it can become a depressive time in their life. And there's just so much that we can do that's out there to help us. And we have to be careful. Like, probably half the things I'm telling you now are wrong. And in 5 to 10 years, you'll go, well, that was wrong. And why did we listen to her? You know? So I think it's just finding what works for you. Don't beat yourself up too much and realize that, okay, here, I gotta do this too. One thing I heard from somebody, actually multiple people, and I loved it. When I had my first period, I felt like a crazy 14-year-old girl. I did. I felt emotional. I felt out of control. I I felt like my friendships were falling apart. I felt like my body was horrible. I was insecure. I had all these anxieties and I'd never had them because I grew up with four brothers. I played all kinds of sports. I was extremely active. I couldn't figure out why I was getting hips, why things were changing in my body. I was feeling uncomfortable with who I was. I was trying to cover myself up more. I had all these anxieties, okay? Well, you imagine that in your late or in your 40s and your 50s, having those same feelings as a grown woman, having gone through life as a wife, a mother, serving in the church, serving in your community, carrying a job. Imagine feeling that as a grown woman, feeling like you cannot get your act together and you cannot shake these feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the that first time, you have a surge of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone. The same thing happens, but it's in a decline. It's in a decline.
Mhm.
So,
I can totally relate to that. I feel like, yeah, we beat ourselves up when what was working before, what we've experienced before changes or is different. And then all of a sudden you're like, what is going on? And what do? We beat ourselves up instead of saying, oh, maybe there's some hormone fluctuations
imbalance.
going on, these
Yep.
imbalances that are happening. And so, yeah, I think we need to give ourselves a lot of grace and, yeah, really do what we can. And I wanted to just share a quick quote from Richard G. Scott. So this is from a long time ago, 1994, actually. And this is what he said. He was talking about healing. And he says, the Lord wants you to learn how to be cured when that is his will, and how to obtain strength to live with your challenge when he intends it to be an instrument for growth. In either case, the Redeemer will support you. And so he was talking more about, when you have serious health challenges. And so I love that he is telling us that we can learn about how to help ourselves in the best possible way. And sometimes our lives may be filled with those challenges all of our life. Maybe we won't receive the physical healing, but we can help and figure out how to be healed spiritually, and we can work on that emotionally. We know so much more now than we did in 1994, right? And especially talking a lot about emotional health, that seems to be a really big thing nowadays. And so I just love that, being reminded that all of these experiences that we're having are for our own growth. And but we don't have to stay there. And I think that's really important too. I have people in my life they struggle and struggle and struggle with health issues, but they will not change. They just refuse to believe that things can change. And so I think remembering to be open and sharing our voices and helping those women around us so that we can maybe help each other recognize that love and support and that knowledge, we can make things change. Maybe we won't have total physical healing in some sense of whatever is happening, but we can um, learn how to support one another through that challenge. And so I just love that.
I have this quote. I'm going to read it to you. The great principle of happiness consists in having a body. The devil has no body, and herein is his punishment. Our physical bodies make possible a breadth, a depth, and an intensity of experience that simply could not be obtained in our mortal estate, our premortal estate. So I think that's why it's so important that if we choose to help ourselves understand what we're going through and make some changes in our lives, if that's what we want, that there's a reason I feel as women we are attacked on our bodies specifically, because there is one that has no body, and his name is Satan. And there's a jealousy and a rage that I feel he puts forth to us. And even though this is all part of the process so that we can continue humanity, we can have families, we can continue to grow, we have to have these bodies, but we need to remember there's one who is constantly at battle with that, trying to get us down on our bodies, right?
Yeah, and I love how the Lord can be our companion in that we can ask for help to, make those changes, to find those answers, to be led to read something or see something, or be led to someone who can tell them something, or practitioners that can help them. Because when you really want something, you have that desire, he's going to magnify that desire, and he's going to help you.
And he wants us to be healthy and
Yeah, he
happy.
does.
He
Yes.
wants us to take care of our families and function as, brothers and sisters in this society. So yeah, why wouldn't he help us?
Right.
Well, when I was thinking about talking to you, both of you, I thought, our bodies are temples,
Hmm.
and they're not visitor centers. and and we need to take care of them like the temples are taken care of on this earth, right? And I think in order to be able to do all these things, we have to have our health in
Yes.
Yes,
check.
yes, we do.
And so whatever it takes so that we can go and serve or go and do
Mhm.
things in our lives, we need to find out why our bodies are doing certain things and what we can do to help them.
Hmm.
There's just so much.
There is so much. And, with this new year, just starting the new year, and there's a lot of focus on, getting fit or starting a new routine. And I love that. Doing what I think, becoming aware of your body. We've talked about this in the past too, Melissa, becoming aware of what your body needs. And
Mhm.
listening to your body, when you start those new routines. My husband just bought a stationary bike, and I've been starting out really slow and allowing myself to work up to that, because I do a lot of walking, but I don't do bike riding. Really listening to my body and not pushing it too much. and just gradually moving towards improvement, I think, is in not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all the ways.
Yeah. And, like walking, for example. See, I love to walk. Some people don't, or swimming. But like when you walk, your lymphatic system drains,
Mm-hmm.
your serotonin levels go up.
Up.
Mhm.
You get your blood. Let's say you eat a meal. Like last night, we fed the missionaries. And I would have loved, had it not been so late, to go on a walk because it helps you regulate your blood sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's all these benefits if you can get out and just walk for 25 minutes. 25 minutes, it
Mhm.
prolongs your life.
Yeah.
It does so much to your system. And there's just so much you can do to heal your body and continue to grow and accomplish so much in your life. We have so much left to live. Even when we go through menopause or we're in peri, we've got 40 to 50 more years possibly to live. So we need to take care of our bodies and do everything we can to be healthy.
Yes.
Go ahead,
I just
Melissa.
think there's so much that because when we're in our 50s and beyond, we have so much life experience and things that we can share. And if we're in that place where we don't feel good and we don't want to do anything, we're depressed, we're anxious, it's hard for the Lord to help it, to have us be His hands because we just don't feel good. But I think that's another reason why Satan's targeting older women so much as well, is because he knows that we have life experience, we have wisdom, we have things to share, we have things to do, we know how things work. And he's just really targeting that. So when we don't feel well, we just don't want to. And so then the Lord's like, well, I can't use you because you're not willing.
Mhm.
So being willing to make these changes, to learn how to better our lives, to find that help.
And I think that we can be proactive, right? Like no matter where you are right now today, you can start from
Yes.
there.
And you
Start
just
from
start
where you
little.
are
Yeah.
and make those incremental steps to,
Mhm.
because if I'm going to live a long time, I want to be healthy. I want to be
Mhm.
active. I want to be able to
Exactly.
be up and moving. Like I see these women in the temple who work there who are much, much older than me. And yes, they may have issues, but they are able to be there each week. Some of them are there almost daily. And how great it would be if I start now, right from where I am, and take some steps to improve my health. Whether that's movement, if you want to start with movement, if you want to start with food and digestion, there's so many different avenues. Just pick one and start moving forward. And what's so amazing to me is how much progress you can make in really kind of a short amount of time, right? Like I think about the last few years and some of the big changes I made just a few years ago and how much that has changed for me. That has made big changes for me and how that spreads out into all areas of your life, right? Like if you can improve your health, that's going to spread out to all of these different areas like we've talked about earlier.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I'm just grateful that there is help out there. There's hope, there's books, there's podcasts, there's articles that you can find the answers if you seek them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Absolutely.
our gut, all of like most of our neurotransmitters that are feel good neurotransmitters are produced
In the gut.
in the
In the
gut. And
gut.
so if our gut
Yeah.
microbiome is not working well,
Yeah.
they can't produce those neurotransmitters, and that's a huge thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Melissa and
And
I both.
estrogen is
Yeah.
also part of the estrogen is also produced in the gut. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So Melissa and I have both been heavily involved in, learning a lot about that and, the natural forms of helping ourselves. And I feel like, the more natural we can go and those clean products can just really make a huge, huge difference. Life changing for me.
mhm.
Save that for another day, but I think I've shared that in the past. But yes,
Yes.
this has been super wonderful having you, Beth. We like to close our podcast with a challenge for our listeners.
Invitation.
an invitation. We used to call it a challenge. Now we call it an invitation. Yeah. And so I think it would be great just to invite our listeners to maybe ponder what is that one thing that they can do, that next step to help them to have that greater health, whether that be physically, because so many of us, and look and see where you're beating yourself up and offer yourself that self-compassion and that grace.
Right.
And
what incremental step can you take? Because you can't
yeah,
change everything at once. That's
you
just
cannot. So really just evaluate that and see where you can make some changes. Well, it has been so wonderful having you share with us today. Melissa and I are just so happy that you could be on today.
Yes, it's been wonderful. Thank you, Beth, for sharing your knowledge and your understanding and your experiences.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed chatting with both of you. Thank you.
Join us for our next episode as we discuss how mental, physical, and spiritual health are interconnected and the importance of taking small, consistent steps to feed our souls. If you enjoyed this podcast, please follow or share with others so we are easier to find. Check out our show notes for each episode in your podcast app or YouTube, and join us on Instagram for more daily content at Awakenings Podcast.